Hello, my friends. Welcome back for another Druthers Good News Tidbits. I hate to break it to you, I have some sad news. There's no good news tidbits in the Druthers. I know I said in Absurdity Observer that we were going to do good news tidbits, but unfortunately, I've been through the paper a few times now and I don't see it. I'm going to go through it one more time, and if I don't see it, we're going to talk about two documentaries that I found in here that I really want everybody to watch because they're really, really good. One of them actually is not a documentary. Well, I'll explain. But yes, unfortunately, as far as I can see here, and maybe I'll count the pages to make sure that there's nothing missing in the paper here, but maybe there's not that much good news going around. Unfortunately, it is a bad time right now. A lot of things going on in the world. But Druthers issue number 30, May 2023. Okay, there's the front page story about this ugly bastard. And page 2 has an open letter to senators and parliament, which I did read. I could comment on that, but I won't right now. The COVID Trojan horse subscription, page 3. Don't see anything so far. Page 4, myocarditis. Hope that wasn't a bad word. What is happening in the skies? I actually saw something. Just a quick side note here. I don't know if you can see that or not. See how it has like the contrails? I actually saw something very similar in the skies over here about a month ago. It was eerily similar to what this is. Now, I don't know if that's just increased traffic, air traffic for some reason, if something's going on, if they've rerouted things over this airspace, if there's something else going on. I don't know, but I can safely say that I've never seen anything like that in the sky up until the last few years. You know, it's not a matter of, oh, you didn't notice. No, we would have noticed like a whole bunch of lines zigzagging like that. Like, it's not uncommon to see 2 or 3 planes in the sky, maybe going in opposite directions. You know, and making lines. That's normal, right? You see that every day. But to have this many, like 20 of them, kind of crisscrossing all over the place like that, and whatever it is staying in the sky for that long, that doesn't seem right. I've never seen that before, so something's going on. Page 5, I don't see any good news here, unfortunately. Safety third. Something about the Ontario Ministry of Health. That might be, I haven't read that one yet. That might be a good one. Oh, yeah. So it might be a comment. I don't know, I'm not going to guess, but it might be a comment on stay home, stay safe, save lives. Don't kill your grandma. Which I had some folks trying to say that kind of stuff to me when that was all going on, and I really didn't appreciate it, and I still have hard feelings about it now. I've forgiven and forgotten. No, I shouldn't say that. I've forgiven. Want druthers delivered. Websites of interest. Maybe we'll cover the websites of interest. I don't think I've made a video on that yet. So if there really is no good news, unfortunately, there's lots of good news. Just it didn't make it into the paper this time. They probably have to accumulate a bit because unfortunately there's more sad, upsetting, angrying videos or articles rather than there are good news tidbits. Unfortunately, that's just where we find ourselves right now. Descent into madness, escaping the madhouse. Nothing good about that. The WEF and their 15-minute cities. Evidence that lockdown killed people from Sweden. The Australian government, man, those guys are messed up more than the others, it seems. Well, they're all messed up, to be fair, but misleading people about injections, restricting movement. What is this, page 8? Yeah, I don't see it, folks, unfortunately. 6, 7, 8. Just going to give it a good scan to make sure. Who do you think runs the world? Are we ruled by psychopaths? Yes, we are. Reclaiming Canada. Huh. Might be worth looking at too. Page 9, I don't see anything. Page 12 is the back, and we already did that Absurdity Observer. Design, distributed. Here's the crew. This is something I haven't covered yet either. There's a section here from Druthers on page 10 at the bottom, underneath the Compelling Reality TV National Citizens Inquiry, which we'll talk about in a second. I'm going to make a video that's going to be worth watching. Even though we don't have the good news tidbits, there's some interesting stuff that I really want to share with the audience. But to look at this section at the bottom of page 10, where it says Druthers distributed independently and completely free of charge, May 2023 circulation, 200,000 copies Canada-wide, 50,000 more copies last month. And then it shows the publisher, Shawn Jason, Christy Lynn and Michelle, David Bolton, crew, email addresses. There's a quote by Shawn Jason saying, "Please, world, be kind to one another. We really are just one big Earth family. Thank you. I love you. Keep on passing it on." Yeah, I agree, Shawn. Couldn't agree more, actually. This part here I just wanted to read out loud because I don't think I've vocalized this on the channel yet when I'm talking about Druthers. Views of columnists and bylined feature writers as expressed are not necessarily those of Druthers, which is what an independent media outlet should say. Special thanks to all those giving their valuable time to help freely distribute Druthers. Thank you also to those who have generously donated to make this free newspaper a reality. Although the paper is free, it costs us to produce, print, and distribute it. If you appreciate our efforts, please help us print more papers next month by making a donation. And I'll actually share this, and I'll put the link up on the screen because I think it's important. Again, I'm not affiliated with Druthers. I'm just a big fan, and I'll support anyone that's willing to share more of the objective truth out there and not just propaganda or repeating lies, silencing people. Anyone that's on the side of what they say on the front, right? Truth, love, and freedom. Anyone that supports those three things and makes a publication around those three things, I'll get behind you with everything I've got. Please give what you can. Honestly, guys, if you can afford it, donate to Druthers. It's druthers.net/donate. Or you can send an e-transfer to admin@druthers.net. For anybody that doesn't know, Druthers actually had one of their bank accounts seized and their donations were all lost. They were unlawfully possessed by the government. They flat out took their money. I'm not going to share any personal stories, but that one, when I found that out, that really hit home for me. That was like a punch in the gut. Just the fact that they can do that the banks will allow that to even happen. You know, they're not protecting the interest of their clients, they're protecting the interest of their masters. Or perhaps more likely it's the opposite, where the banking cartels are the masters and the governments are just the puppets, as we know. So either way, that's an atrocity. It shouldn't be done. So please help to recoup those funds for them. Donate what you can. Every little bit counts. Again, it's druthers.net/donate or admin@druthers.net. You can send cash, checks, money orders can be made out and mailed to Shawn Jason Laplante. That's Shawn Jason, Laplante. Shawn Jason Laplante. P.O. Box 40531. 6 Points Plaza, Toronto, Ontario, M9B 6K8. And I'll put it up here on the screen and also in the description. So support the paper if you can. Very important. They need all the help that they can get and to continue to spread the good word, which is the objective truth. At least they strive, right? They're not perfect. They're going to make mistakes. And I've said it before that they are great at posting when they've made a mistake and trying to make it better so that the viewers know when there was an inaccuracy, right? That's quite rare that the major news outlets are going to do that, Mainstream media doesn't make any mistakes, right? They just do what they're told. So donate if you can. We really appreciate it. Everybody would. Keep this paper alive, please, if you can help to do that, because it's so great. And one of the reasons why it's great, and I'll just share this before we end. Not only, I love the Absurdity Observer, and I love the Good News Tidbits, but like I said, unfortunately, there are none. You can also support them by volunteering, donating, subscribing. You know, being that it's a free publication, they only are alive really through donations and support from people like us. So help them out if you can. But one of the things that makes Druthers so good is stuff like this. Okay, compelling reality TV, the National Citizens Inquiry. If you have a chance, please do yourself the favor, watch as much as you can. It's really long. It was in like 5 different cities: Toronto, Vancouver, a few others, in Saskatchewan, I believe, in Quebec. I forget the names of the cities. Probably lists it here somewhere, but just go check it out. It's nationalcitizensinquiry.ca. Now, I can't say I'm a big fan of them using the word citizen, because I don't think they understand what that word means. They shouldn't be referring to themselves as citizens. They're not citizens. They're humans. They're men and women. They're flesh and blood, and they're worth more than what a citizen is worth. It's not a legal construct. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Watch it, because there's so much compelling testimony there. These are people that are sharing their own accounts of what happened, of what they went through, coming from different industries, different walks of life. There was some stories. There was video, someone testifying that was a funeral director, and all of the weird shit that they had seen since this whole pandemic started, and some anomalies in the blood and in the bodies that they were seeing. And then there were some other accounts from like medical doctors that were like, no, I don't like what I'm seeing. I don't like what you guys are asking us to do, and I'm not going to do it. And heartbreaking testimonies from people that lost loved ones from suicides and drug overdoses and complications from these experimental vaccines. And you'll laugh, you'll cry. I forget, they said the same thing in the article. That's exactly how I felt about it. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll go through the whole range of emotions, but it needs to get out there. Some of it's really hard to watch and listen to, and at times you go from being grossed out to just being like revolted in a more in an upsetting sort of way, you know. But the whole thing, it really does sicken your stomach. But it's important to watch. It's important to understand what happened. And what better way to understand what happened than to listen to the accounts of people that were in the trenches when this was all happening. Those are the people I want to hear from. The ones that identified that there's a problem here. Those teachers, those attendants, those flight attendants, or those pilots that went through whatever with their jobs, the ones that lost the job, the ones that were threatened, maybe the ones that were threatened but stood their ground, you know. Those are the people I want to hear from. I want to hear from those lawyers and those judges and those police officers and everybody, the nurses and the doctors, and you know, what happens when everybody shares their story is we come to a consensus, if you will. Maybe that's not the right word. We come to an agreement on what happened, on what the truth of the matter really is. And we don't want it to be like whatever, like some other event that happened where we still don't have all the pieces. We don't want it to be another 9/11, or I don't want to list any specifics really, but we need to determine what happened, and if there was unlawful behavior on anybody's part, those people need to be held accountable. Because let's not kid ourselves here. There was a lot of ill stuff that happened. There was a lot of unethical, deplorable things, behavior, treatment of people, breaches in human rights, you name it. You know, people starved, people fought, people died. A lot of people died, and we don't exactly know why. That's an atrocity. That is unacceptable in this day and age, that there would be this much disinformation. Forget misinformation, disinformation, you know, masking the truth of what happened. All I can say, and I've seen this said, and other people have said it way better than I'm going to say it now, but it needs to be said that if you engage in that level of evil, okay, karma will catch up with you. And if it's not karma, it's something. There's a universal balancing system there. It's science, okay? There's a science of real karmic justice, okay? And if you don't get yours in this lifetime, you're gonna get it at some point. There's worse things that can happen than death. There are situations, let's call them, that would boggle the human mind of where one's spirit may end up. Let's just say that. And this is not some boogeyman story here. I'm talking about the order in the universe, right? We know that it's a chaotic universe, but it's also an ordered universe in some ways. There has to be a balance between the two. And where someone may deviate from the natural law, the natural laws that govern human behavior, there's going to be a price to pay, okay? There's no free lunch. If you think you're getting away with something, if you think you're getting one up on somebody, it'll catch up with you one day. And a lot of these people, right, that are being exposed in these sort of publications, in the National Citizens Inquiry, they're being found to be guilty. And I really hope and pray that these people are brought to justice. I'd rather it be sooner than later, because I think these people should be stripped of all, quite honestly, stripped of all their possessions and what they're trying to do to others and power and authority they're trying to exert onto others. They should have that done to them tenfold, because you've broken the natural law. You need to pay now, okay? This is not a system of reformation. This is not some bullshit correctional facility. No, this is cosmic karma. This is cosmic justice. This is God, if you will, saying those little man-made laws that you've created, they're nice. They're nice little words on a piece of paper, but I'm here to remind you who the boss is. You're not going to get one up on Mother Nature. It's just not going to happen. You will always lose. She will always win. And really, it can't be a competition. It's not a competition. You will lose. Let's just put it that. That's what happens when you fight your own innate human nature. We are one. We are each other. You hurt me, you're hurting yourself. I hurt you, I'm hurting myself. Right? A lot of these folks now that are finally being brought to justice, some of them are still getting away with it, but it'll, like I said, it'll catch up with them. Some of them now are finally being brought to justice, and they're going to get their comeuppance. Right? That's just what happens when you deviate from the natural order of things. There's a reason why these things exist, and really, quite honestly, natural law doesn't give a shit about you. It doesn't care if you want to believe in it or not. It doesn't care if you want to think it exists or not, or if you want to go along with it or not, or go against it. It doesn't care. It doesn't, I don't want to say it doesn't have the capacity to care, but that's not its thing. It's not in the business of care. Natural law is like gravity. It just exerts itself equally across all things. It was never created. It will never be destroyed. It's just something that we have to accept as objective truth. So, while I'm happy that some of these people are being brought to justice, I'm also aware that not everyone will be, but we have to be patient. We have to be relentless, but also patient and allow things to run their course. So definitely watch the National Citizens Inquiry. Like I said, sad at times, uplifting at other times. Really interesting to see the account of people, like they say here, a veteran, a teacher, an activist, an embalmer, a physician, an ER physician, a decorated retired OPP officer, a lawyer. You know, goes on and on. In even darker examples, we heard testimony of a man in extreme pain in need of an appendix. Oh yeah, I remember. Guy was having an appendicitis, and they wouldn't help him because he hadn't been jabbed. What the F? And then finally, some doctor who remembered their oath, the Hippocratic Oath. If that's not the reason, if going into medicine is not a way for you to heal others, what the hell are you going into this business for, right? I'm a spiritual healer. I heal people in another way. As a shaman, as a hand healer, as a bard also. But if my purpose is not to heal, then what am I doing? What am I honestly doing? A doctor that doesn't heal is like a towel that doesn't dry, you know? I don't know how else to say it. Bad analogy, but you get what I'm saying. It's just weird. You know, there's a lot of nurses even that are not healers, and I don't get that. I don't get that. If you're not in it to be a healer, to heal people, then what are you doing? That's the whole definition of that role. Anyway, watch that inquiry. Really, really powerful stuff. Lots of good videos. They were entire days. I think it happened over the course of a weekend. So it's like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and they're like 8 or 9 hour videos. So if you can get through the whole thing, all the power to you. Just let it play and maybe treat it like a podcast and digest it bit by bit. But they also have some shortened clips and testimonies that are isolated from the rest of the day, so you can just watch one at a time if you want. They're about 45 minutes each. I think Robert Malone was at the end of the Toronto one, I want to say, and his was a little bit longer. I think his was like an hour and a half. His was really interesting, actually, despite the technical difficulties. The other thing you want to watch is, I haven't seen this one yet, but I read this little article, and this looks really interesting. The COVIDism, Contagious Deception, which is really intriguing. Apparently there's 4 parts. Looks like at least 4 parts. Don't quote me on that, but if you want to watch that one, it's healthimpactnews.com. And I guess it was originally posted there. healthimpactnews.com. And it's new 2023 documentary premiere, COVIDism, Contagious Deception. So I'll probably watch that one tonight. The other one that I would really suggest, I wasn't going to mention this one because it's not really related to Druthers or really good news of any kind, but really fascinating, really interesting to watch, is Truth Warrior, The Cult of the Medics. Check that one out. It's a long series. I think they're up to 9 or 10 parts now. I'm about halfway through, but so far really interesting stuff. A lot of like factual things that are going to be really hard to disprove, because the evidence is just, it's right out on the table, and it's extremely hard to deny something that's just like right in front of you, that's so obvious, right in your face. And some of the discoveries that he makes in there are startling. He does a really good job of going back and looking at the history of how did it get to this point, and what what specifically, what events took place and who was part of it, and how did it manifest itself into what we're seeing today as this cult of medical professionals that operate in a very sort of almost sinister medical, like I said, they're not healers. They're not acting as healers. They're acting as businessmen, but they're still wearing the lab coats and they have the stethoscope. So what's up with that? Which side of the morality spectrum are you leaning now? You know, are your interests to help people and to heal people where they should be? Are you following your Hippocratic oath, or are you actually just in it for the money? And I'm seeing that across the board now with teachers, right? This is one of the reasons we pulled our kids out of school a few years ago, is you could tell that they were just in it for the money. They were not there to teach kids. And if they weren't teaching them the right things. They were teaching them to be drones, to be, you know, laborers, and to have no ambition, and to just get along and never question anything. And I watched a video earlier today. It was sickening how this principal of a school was telling the mother of a child who had a genuine concern about the safety of her child, being told that the children's safety is their priority, and it was anything but. And really the mom had to essentially say, like, that's not even your job, is to worry about safety. You're there to educate. And now there's all these other things being done in the guise of protecting your child, or protecting your child's safety, protecting the safety of all the kids as a group, right? Because there's no individuals anymore. It's really sickening. A lot of it is sickening, and I have to really moderate myself when I watch this kind of stuff and when I take it in, because it really feels toxic after a while. I'm definitely an empath in the sense that I sometimes take in too much. You know, I open myself out to a little bit too much of it, and then you end up genuinely feeling physically sick, because it's like an accumulation of toxin, of all these rotten things that are happening in the world. You really have to, at one point, stop and say no, and say, I'm aware that there's a lot of these bad things happening in the world, but it's like animal abuse, for example. You know, I say this to my wife all the time, because we have a big heart for animals, is that you can't save them all. And it's the same with people. We can't save them all. We should try to save as many as we can, and to help as many as we can, and do what we can to serve as many as we can to the best of our abilities. But we're never going to be able to reach everyone, nor would it be realistic to try. That's why we have these communities, so that we can get together and affect change together as a community, instead of having to fight a huge battle alone as an individual. Come together. That's when having a group makes a difference. Where it matters is in things like communities, in NGOs, and you know, just in families and friends and circles and networks where they're just doing what they can. And I don't say this all the time, but it's so true. It's that we all have to do what we can, where we can, when we can. If we all did that to affect change in this world, positive change, and to cut down on corruption and slavery and property rights issues, if we all worked towards those things and applied the golden rules and observed and adhered to natural law, boy, we'd have such a better world. We'd have such a more cohesive, harmonic world. It would be somewhere I wouldn't be so worried about what type of world is it going to be for my kids or my grandkids or my great-grandkids. I wouldn't be as worried about it. I would know that we're on the right track now. We're making the steps in the right direction that we need to. And right now, I can't say that I'm confident in where we're going. I'm anything but, actually. If I'm honest, I'm quite concerned with where we're going as a species, and how we're allowing ourselves to still be enslaved, and in many ways oppressed, and we allow these atrocities and these wars to continue, and we allow the fruits of our labor to be seized. And I could go on and on and on of why it's a shitty world, but I think the focus needs to be on, again, what we can do. Each and every one of us can do something. Each and every one of us can speak out against things that we see that are not right, that are flat out wrong. Each and every one of us can make a difference in that area. And improving all of our communities will then improve the town, will improve the city, will improve the province or the state or the county or whatever the country, you know. And when I have to specify here, I'm not talking about the corporate entities. I'm not talking about, when I say country, I'm not talking about Canada in uppercase letters here. Not Canada Co., Canada Inc. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about the government. I'm not talking about any sort of corporate or legal structure whatsoever. I'm talking about country means to me, should mean to everyone, the people and the land. That's it, right? You want to talk about the culture? That's really in the people, right? That's what we have as far as Canadian culture. We have the people and we have the land. And where those two things come together maybe is where our culture is originating from. But I sure as hell ain't talking about anything else. So if you want to create a better world, it starts with, really, you can go into your community further, into your own family, into your relationship with your kids and with your partner, into yourself and within, right? It's by improving things within and making a better world within that we end up ultimately making a better world outside of ourselves. But it starts in here. And until everyone does the work they need to do in here, which includes the very painful sometimes shadow work that needs to be done by everyone, until everyone discovers their inner shaman, these things are not going to change, because we need strong individuals, strong, not in the sense physical, yes, okay, strong, healthy, good, mental, strong, good, spiritually strong. We need tough souls. We need old, tough souls to rise up, not from the dead. That's not where I was going. But these living souls need to come alive again, awaken. It's a tired expression, but it's true. Become enlightened. Fill yourself with light. Meditate. Be mindful. Live in the present. Get out of your head. Travel. Take chances. Take risks. That's my good news for today. There you go. We've rounded it off at the end, and we brought it back to somewhere positive. Despite the fact that there's a lot of negative in the world, I think that we have to balance it out. When we take it in and we start feeling sick, we got to balance it out, use our alchemy, and turn it into something positive, which is what I wanted to end on. So a lot of people like to look at it, well, there's hope. There's hope. I'm not a fan of hope. You know, I use that expression like anyone else. I hope this, I hope that. But what is hope, really? Hope is just holding on, right? We can do better than that. We can do better than hope. We can affect real change by investing our life force and everything we have into causes that are just, that are worthy of our time and our energy and our lives, you know? Now is the time, not tomorrow, not the next day. It's today, it's now. We get a chance all the time. I say this to my kids. We get a chance to start over every day. Every day when you wake up and you open your eyes, it's a chance to start over and do something new and become a better version of yourself. Just keep improving things. Start within, go without. I mean, start with your environment, you know. I'm not sure how I got off on this little tangent, but it's a good place to end. The good news in all this is that there's more than hope. There's an extremely likely possibility. I would go so far as to say a certainty that if we got together, it won't take that many of us, you know, even 100, I forget who said, I think it was Mark Passio recently, was watching something where he was saying even 100,000 people. Imagine 100,000 people that were really committed, you know, committed to the point of like Mark or even myself. I'm not at that level where I'm putting everything I have into it, because I really can't. I'm not going to make any excuses. I don't think we should be making any excuses for why we can't invest 100% of ourselves, but invest 100% of what's realistic, right? Which is even, that's a far cry from what most people do. Invest, again, what you can, where you can, when you can. I'm going to keep saying it because that's what we can do. There's a lot of things. We could go over all the things we can't do and all the things that are keeping us back and holding us down. Why don't we focus on the things we can do? And this is what I can do, okay? I don't know if it's going to affect that much change, but this is what I can do. I'm good at making videos, of ranting, obviously, talking about politics. I'm not afraid to share my views and to speak out against what I believe to be injustices and unlawful behavior and situations and characters and constructs. I'm not afraid to speak out against them and make it public. But everybody's got to do it. It can't just be me or a few other people. Everybody's got to do it. I want to hear from every single person's opinion. Every human needs to speak up. Every human has a soul deep down, as a spirit. It needs to come alive, and the spirit needs to be running the show. Not the mind, not the body, the spirit. It all starts with the spirit. And if we were speaking from the spirit and operating from a place within, in that golden space, you know, the possibilities would be endless. You know, like I said, it's not even a possibility, it's a certainty. I know with utmost certainty that 100,000 good people, more and more and more as time goes on, it would not take very long. Within a year or two, give it a year or two of just grind. Let's grind. Let's clean up this mess. Let's get these characters out of here. Abolish all slavery, all forms of slavery and authoritarianism. And let's just start making a better world for ourselves, for our kids, for our grandkids, for future generations that we'll never know, because they deserve it. They deserve the best. Didn't we deserve the best when we were born? Is that what we got? Is that what you want to give the next generation? Because even that's not what they're going to get. They're not going to get what you got. They're going to get, at this rate, a very shitty version of what you got. A worse version. Is that really what we want for our future generations? I think not. I think they deserve more. They deserve better, especially with all of our innovation and our ingenuity. We've come this far not to drop the ball on simple, basic things like human rights, people not having enough food or somewhere to sleep at night. Unacceptable. There's no reason why we should be here right now. And all it takes is just a relatively small amount of people to affect some real change in the world. That's it. That's all I'm going to say. I am officially getting off my soapbox and I'm going to bed because I'm tired now. Even if it's 7 p.m. It's been a long day, been a long week. Hope you enjoyed it. It wasn't a good news tidbits, but I tried my best to at least drum up some enthusiasm for what could be, and that I think what will be. It's just a matter of time. But let's try our best to encourage each other and get it done faster, you know, faster than it could be. Because it doesn't need to be a long, drawn-out process. It could be happening right now. We can see a better day starting today, starting tomorrow morning, starting right now. Don't even wait for tomorrow morning. Do it now. Do it now. Tomorrow morning we'll do something else. We'll keep working at it. From someone who is a permaculture farmer who does a lot of homesteading type of stuff, there's never a shortage of projects on the farm, ever, right? It's always from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. And a lot of the times, combining that with a full-time job and being a father of two and partner and hobbies and things that are good for you and exercise and all these things together, very easy to feel overwhelmed and stressed out. You feel like, oh, I'm never going to get around to all these things. But all you can do is one thing at a time. All you really have to think about is, what is the next highest priority thing that I should be doing right now? You only have to ever worry about that one thing, because you can really effectively only do one thing at a time. So just think about, what's the most effective thing that I could do with my time right now? And then the stress just melts away, because you're only focused on doing that one thing. And guess what? If that thing is relatively easy to do, or manageably done in a short amount of time, you're going to get that dopamine rush, and it's going to encourage you and motivate you to do the next one, and then the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And then the next thing you know, you're snowballing it, and everything's getting done, and all you had to worry about was that next most important thing on your list. Don't even make a list. Screw lists. If you want to, make a list. But realize that there will be a natural order to things, and sooner or later, you're going to find yourself just naturally gravitating towards the next thing that needs to be done. And then when you find yourself doing something where you're like, is this the best thing I could be doing with my time? Then you know right away it's not. And then you go instinctively find the next highest priority thing that you should be doing. Oh yeah, right, I forgot I needed to fix that thing. Right, and there you go. Or work on that project that was like 75% done. I just need to push one last time and get it done. Anyway. That's where I'll end. That's good news, right? It's good stuff. Let me know what you think. Share your good news tidbits. If you have good news, if you know of things that have happened in the world recently or any time, share any good news that you have in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Share your links, your videos, your comments, your love. Thank you so much for watching. I don't say this enough, but I really appreciate your viewership. If anybody who's watching gets through the end of these videos, I know they're a bit long, but they're so worth it for me to watch, and hopefully for you to watch as well, or for me to make and for you to watch. I don't really watch my own videos, I'm not that vain, but hopefully you are enjoying this and see the value in these. It's just so important to share this kind of information. It's not done enough, and it's what I can do, and it's what you can do. A lot of people say to me, well, I don't know what to do, I don't know where to start. Start somewhere, anywhere. Just if it was outside on the farm, I'd say just pick up a shovel and start digging. If we're planting trees, stop getting stuck in what they say in the permaculture world, analysis paralysis. Don't get caught there. Just start doing stuff, and inevitably you'll fall into a rhythm, and things will just start getting done, and then you just build steam from there. It's really that simple. But we need more advocates for this kind of stuff, guys. So please do your part, do what you can. And support these people doing these things. Support the Shawn Jason Laplantes of the world, and support the Mark Passios out there, and the Larkin Roses. And I don't want to name a bunch of names because I'm ultimately going to forget people, but there's so many other people that have paved the way for us and have made the mistakes that we don't have to make, that have already templatized this whole process. We just need to emulate these great and brave souls and just follow in their footsteps. Some of their shoes may be, pretty big to fill, but we do what we can. And that's really the message here that I want you to take home as I'm ending this video. Just do what you can. You can't do anything better than your best. Just do your best. That's it. That's all I would ask of anyone. That's all I would ask of myself. Do what you can. Thanks for watching, my friends. Take care. Be well. See you on the next one.